Today we have a lovely discussion, and our topic of discussion today is the importance, if there is, of body language when you are playing the piano. Because I know, at least from my studies, there are some teachers or some performers that really advocate like being very still, and that way the music just comes out of you and into the music, and that your own body language or facial expressions don't disturb that. And then there are some people who are thinking, well, we do need a little bit of some musical gestures to enhance the music or to supplement it. Some people will say that, hey, 30% of what you hear is actually what you see. So having good body language is important when you are performing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a personal choice. Some people move naturally and it works for them, and then for some other people, they're completely still and they're still able to create the music that they're looking for. So I don't think there's one way to do it.
And I think with body language, it's more important for me anyway that it can be still and you can be moving, but as long as it's not really tense. I find negative body language that can affect things. I don't really care whether the performer is still or really moving, but if there's more movement than what's really needed. I've seen it once, and I remember it was at a competition, and the adjudicator did call it out, saying that you're moving way too much. There's times when it doesn't match the music. I feel like it has to make sense.
It has to be genuine, and you can usually tell if it's not genuine. Like if the person is moving a lot, but you feel like it matches the performance and the music, then it doesn't bug me as much as if it looks like they're exaggerating for the sake of the performance and looking a certain way.
Visually, you don't want to do something that's the opposite or distracting from the mood of the music. I've seen performers smiling when they are playing a section of the piece that's supposed to be more somber, and that was really distracting to me, to see someone smiling and really having fun with such dark music. So I think body language could be related in that way. If you're playing a certain type of mood, you want your body language to reflect that, and you don't want it to be the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can see in a performer they're the more introspective and introverted performer, and then when you see that as a person, and then their gestures and their facial expressions almost seem calculated and not matching their personality, that's when I'm like, that's something weird going on. But when you have like a performer, maybe they do have a big personality and therefore their gestures also match that, and you get that balance between musical gestures purely serving for the music and their personality, is where you want to reach that golden ratio in a way.
I think the example that everyone thinks of is Luong, and I think a lot of the classical community hates on him for being so expressive with the gestures. Personally, I feel like he's still a kid, like in his heart. So when he plays, he's genuinely like that, or at least it feels like that to me. Not that I like every single performance, but his personality suits that.
I agree. I would describe it as genuine curiosity for music, and that he's actually really excited about everything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel fake at all. I think it's natural and suits him very well, and he plays, if you listen to just his sound, I feel like a lot of people would agree that he plays beautifully.
Yeah. And if you watch him do his master classes as well, there's a couple of his master classes that are available online. He is really like passionate about the music and enthusiastic, and that comes out with his body language.
Yeah, he really encourages the students to be more expressive and really get into the character of each piece.
Have you guys ever consciously thought about, or a teacher told you to consciously do a certain body gesture? For example, like when you finish a piece and it's a big blah blah blah, and like take your hands off the keys. Have you guys ever made those decisions consciously for the purpose of the music or showmanship even?
When you're teaching a student to do dynamics, for example, naturally, very few people are going to really exaggerate the dynamics enough so that the listener can hear it. So for them to exaggerate a little bit, then they start to get more comfortable in how much sound they really need. And the same thing with movement. I feel like very few people are naturally free enough to really let go and, move, whether it's a circular motion or like the ending to really release their arm into the air. Like very few beginners will have that courage to do those kind of gestures.
Have you guys heard of people saying how our body language can affect our mood or just how we portray ourselves? I think that's also important in performing because we are actors or actresses on stage. We are trying to evoke certain emotions or atmosphere. If our body doesn't embody that atmosphere or mood, then you might not get that across with your fingers and your music as well. So I think that's why having our body move a certain way not only helps how we feel in our head or how we hear our music, but I think it'll also help other people hear that through our music, not just visually, but it changes our sound, I think.
There is the idea that musical gestures can help you play more musically in the way that sometimes as a pianist, even, and I'm sure for other instruments, you are having to think about so many things, the notes, the rhythms, your interpretation, the dynamics, that balance, all this stuff, that sometimes you need to auto-program into your gestures some form of musicality. So that way it frees up your brain RAM for other stuff. So some people will have like, oh, if I'm gonna play loudly, this is my gesture for loud. So it automatically comes out whether or not you're thinking or need to think about it. So I think there is an important place in a technical world for musical gestures. Of course, for other places too, but technically it can be very helpful.
Yeah, and from a pedagogical standpoint, it is very helpful so that students differentiate, different how to play with different sounds, different colors, different dynamics. And getting the idea out that it's not just in the fingers. You don't play piano from just your fingers. There's a lot more to it. It's a whole upper body
and lower body
experience.
And everything.
You can use your legs too, and your back from the
lower
back.
You can use your spine too if you want to.
Has everything.
Shoot up.
Here's when you insert your clip of you trying the piano stool. And being like, yes, guys, this is how you play using your feet.
For those who don't know, I don't even know if I have that clip, but I have like this adjustable footstool for my younger students because they're too short to have their feet touch the ground. But body alignment and the use of your feet is super important on playing piano and directing your energy and having support. So like, I'm a short gal. I'm gonna admit it. I don't even know to admit it. I accept I'm a short person. So like all my life, I've never really played with this footstool, not even as a kid, because no one's ever brought that to my attention. So I was like fooling around with it, and I only needed like a little inch off the ground. I just need that much, and I put my feet. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually understand more clearly the use of my lower back. And I was like playing stuff. I was like, oh my god, I can play this so much faster and more easily. I wish I could have like, you know those ones for the kids where they have the adjustable footstool with the pedal attachment?
Yep.
I want one of those.
I thought that's what you were talking about initially. They're expensive. They're like $600 or something. Like.
Yeah. I kind of want to patent one that's cheaper.
And usually you grow out of it. So.
Shut up. Like, I want to use it, but I also know that, like, if I took that out on stage and had it prepared, I think for image-wise, like, I'll just stick to my regular configuration.
I didn't even realize that was a personal attack.
I'm not tall, okay?
You just have to have some crazy high heels.
Heels are so much easier.
When we were talking about that, we were like, maybe that's how Yuja does it, because she has these tall heels, and if you look at the angle of her leg, it's actually at a 90-degree angle, like perfect 90. And we're like, so everyone thinks she's just being fashionable, but I'm sure she's doing it for better technique. That's how she gets her fast technique.
It's a lot easier to flutter.
I love that you analyze this.
I just remember looking at that. I was like, I wonder what her angle, because Michelle was saying that Michelle's angle is like this with her thigh and then from her knee.
What?
And yeah.
Like, you're about to fall off the bench.
Yeah, my legs are like this. I'm not 90 degrees. I'm like this.
Yeah, I did. Okay, you know what? To be completely honest with you, Michelle, I never thought anything of that angle of your legs, but I thought she really loved sitting high on the bench.
No, it's because I'm short. I have short legs, okay?
Like she sits really high and it hangs, and so anyway, because you're not that much shorter than me, we're probably around the same height. But I think the length of our torso versus legs are.
I have a super long torso and freaking short legs. So that's why my bench is so high.
Yeah. So anyway, I analyzed Yuja's legs because we were talking about this
That's
angle.
our title right there.
And then I saw this and I was like, what?
We analyzed Yuja's legs.
just
A breakdown of Yuja's legs.
Title could be How Her Legs Help.
That's literally every concert she's in ever. The cameraman is like, legs.
I love it when like one of the greats, they like go up to the piano and they're all like dignified, take their hands, and they just like place it down and then boom, it's like a massive sound. I love it when that happens. Sometimes I find like the opposing like very still, but you still see very good energy, and then the sound is so active that the opposition is like really fascinating to me.
Or like ringing sound. Like you don't have to go like that, and then they just go, and then it's ringing forever, and it's really amazing.
How would you explain then like the awesome greats who are very still, but bam, do they pack a punch, or that they express something so easily? For example, like Horowitz or Rubinstein, where do you think that like magical energy comes from?
When you reach a certain age, there's just wisdom that flows out of the piano. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah, it seeps out of your fingertips.
I think if you look like you're 90 years old, anything you play will sound more wise.
Yeah, seriously. I think it's definitely a thing.
Michelle, can you insert a clip here of Pressler playing when he's just not moving? He's just like presses the note.
Pressler actually moves quite a bit.
I'm thinking of a specific recording. It was like a Mozart rondo.
Oh, yeah.
He just plays the note and they just like the gods appear.
He's too young to play that.
Yeah. He was like, I waited till I was like 75 because I wasn't mature enough at that.
I didn't have the divine wisdom yet.
And he had a story about it before that, like, there was a competition. I forget what competition it was, but, the students revised, don't play this piece, it's too dangerous. And then he said, like, they all failed.
Yeah.
You do not reach the age requirement to auto-fail.
That's right.
I would love for us to start a discussion down in the comments below. But do remember, be kind. Everyone comes from a different school of thought, but maybe we can learn things from each other. And we'll be down in discussions in the comments down there discussing it with you as well. So leave us some comments. We'll be happy to read them. We will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. And we are also on Instagram. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.